In this tutorial, we're going to have a look at arranging our tracks so that it's a bit more interesting than just the same loops happening over and over again. So at the moment, I've put my loops into my track and they all just happen straight away, one after the other like this. You might notice that I zoom in and out a little bit while I'm doing these. The zoom controls are in the bottom right-hand corner and they can help you get a good look at what's going on. Right. Arranging is all about thinking about when these things are going to happen. Usually in a track, you're not going to have everything come in all at once. So I'm going to think about what's going to be the start of my song. I think I might want to build up to this bass. I think I might actually maybe even bring in this little synth arpeggiator here. Maybe the drums coming in a little bit later. Maybe the riff might come in after it, perhaps. Now, when I'm choosing when these things are going to happen, what I'm not going to do is just have them kind of randomly coming in at a point like where this purple bass is now. The reason that's not going to work is it's in between the bars. It's not on one of those strong bar lines with a number at the top. It's just kind of randomly. So it's not going to sound in time with the rest of your track. So to make sure that everything's always in time, you've got to make sure that everything comes in and stops on the bar lines. It's also a really good idea to think about things in patterns of 2, 4, and 8, because that sounds really musical. If you have something coming in after 3 bars, so after 3 squares, it's going to sound a little bit odd. We're used to hearing things in pattern of 2s and 4s and sometimes 8s in music. So I'm going to have after 2, my riff will come in. Then after 2 more, so there we go. So we've got 2 more blank squares up here. Then my drum's going to come in. Then my bass is going to come in here after 2 more. So I've got things building in one at a time. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, that works. That makes the start of the song a little bit more interesting. I might even want some of those things to go on longer. Maybe I want it to be a little bit longer before my bass comes in. It might give it even more impact, perhaps, if it comes in here. Now, at a certain point, you're going to want things to stop, to drop out. So let's say I want my drums to drop out for a moment. Like, let's say just here, I'm going to have a bit with my bass and without my drums, but then I want my drums to come back in again. So to do that, I can make a copy of this drum part and have it come back in over here. I can do that by, if I go to right click on the loop and press copy. Another way you can do it is go to the edit menu and press copy. So I've just right click copy or edit menu copy. Then this playhead, which is this line going down here, which is basically where I'm going to press play from when I press the play control down here, I can paste it at. So I'm going to go to the edit menu and choose paste. To make sure it's going to come in the right place, I've got to have my right track selected. So this is the track, the drum track, which on mine is called Dubstepper. There we go. I'm going to paste it in, right click paste, and then it should appear, and there we go. Now I've got this little gap of no drums, but then they come back in again. I can do the same with my other parts as well. Let's have this little arpeggiator stop for a little bit while everything else carries on. But as you've noticed, I've tried to do things really carefully so that they're always happening on the grid lines, so it always is going to stay in time. Then I'll have my bass stop, perhaps. I've got my bass going on for quite long there, so I need to drag that one back. And to make them go for longer or shorter, I'm using this loop control, which is at the top right-hand corner of the actual loop itself. So there we go. Maybe I can make my bass stop for a minute. Let's have my arpeggiator come back in there. So I'm going to make a copy of that one, make sure my track's selected, have it come back in here, paste, and there we go. So you can see I can build these things up with the gaps in between as well. Let's have a little listen to what that sounds like with all of that arrangement in place. Here we go. with these things dropping in and out, it gives it a bit of variety, makes it a bit more interesting. And by always having them start and end on those lines with the bar numbers on them, that means it's always going to sound really musical. Finally, if you want to, what you might try and do, if you want to take it a little bit further, is think about, okay, so which bit's going to be my chorus? And maybe there are certain loops which only come in on the chorus, which will make a chorus section sound a little bit different from the verse section. So that is how to arrange your track.